The devil bird.
Yeah,
Where was that shot? That was right on the.
It's in the white sands in Vilpattu.
Okay.
It's a very lucky
Well,
sighting.
that's a pathway, right? It looks like a.
It was actually on a tree, and it basically the monkeys were making a big noise, and the fellow lost his balance and fell into the sand.
Right.
And
But he was okay.
He was okay. Then he flew off.
But two things I noticed while we were having the discussion was, one thing, the amount of biodiversity that we have here in Sri Lanka, which is amazing, and the second thing is the knowledge that you have about that biodiversity. I mean, that's you could just rattle off facts about all of those animals.
I don't consider myself an expert, because there are people far more learned and knowledgeable about it, and I actually learn most of the things from
as someone who does not pursue this as a
True.
career, you have your 9-to-5 job as well.
Yeah.
But
I believe the correct vernacular is enthusiast.
Yes.
Because I know
There we
that.
go, Jason.
Because after my trip to Yala, I became an enthusiast with wildlife. That's right. This guy right here, you didn't expect that, did you? Ooh. Yeah.
I'm surprised this morning on gmsl. All right, Raju, but tell us now, how did you get so much knowledge? And it's just reading and
yes, it's actually a lot of reading and also a lot of knowledge sharing, because I have, when you're interested in this subject, you get to know a lot of people in the field. Especially like senior photographers, then a lot of scientists who do real research, and they are like a lot of my role models and people I learn from, and I learn a lot from them, and also I do my own research as well.
So all the photographs that will be featured in your exhibition, are they things that you've been taking for over a long period of time? Because this is your first solo exhibition.
It may be like actually not way back, like not obviously the photographs I took when I was small are not good quality enough to be shown in exhibition, but most of them, as soon as I started with my DSLR, I started learning to perfect the art and taking really good shots. So the best shots in the last, say, 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, on that note, we're going to go into a quick commercial break.
Okay.
And we'll be right back with more of Rajiv's work. And I will ask him the question that I ask every photographer that's been on the show. Nikon or Canon? We'll be right back after this commercial break. And we're back on Good Morning Sri Lanka. In case you just tuned in, we have a wildlife photographer in the studio. Rajiv, good morning back to you again.
Morning,
we were
Jason.
just about to speak about something really interesting. Now, your exhibition is happening on the 26th and the 27th at Lionel Wendt.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you this. Now, when it comes to print in your photographs, a lot of people prefer film cameras than DSLRs. But I guess it's different when it comes to wildlife photography, because you go on burst mode sometimes. What do you prefer? Have you ever used film for wildlife photography?
Yeah, actually, Jason, I started my photography using film.
Is this the duct tape camera?
No, actually, no. It was even before that. But thing is, the advantage of using digital is that it's way cheaper. Once you invest in the camera,
right.
You don't have to spend on film rolls. You don't have to spend on processing them. Everything's if I don't like the picture, I can delete it. One of the great things is I can test and play around with the settings so that I can perfect my art.
Right.
And actually, I have a lot of respect for the photographers who have done photography using film, because those guys learnt it the hard way, and hats off to them.
That is true.
Right.
Now, when I was looking at your pictures, some of them seemed like ridiculously close, and some of them you've used a really zoom lens, pretty much a 400, if I'm correct.
It's a 100 to 400 Canon. It's not the biggest lens, but it's the mid-range lens which I use. Yes, it actually getting close also. I normally don't try to get close on purpose. I rather let the animal get close to me.
Yeah.
Main thing is get the animal accustomed to the surroundings and get used to you being around, and keep that distance, and they'll come to you. I've had some amazing sightings by just being patient and letting the animal come to me.
Right. So it's a lot of patience when it comes to photography with animals. Like just one step at a time, slowly.
Yeah.
Like how. Like
sometimes
Put Jason in as a predator in any ecosystem.
I am a predator.
There's a picture actually of a spoonbill landing in the water. Actually, I had to wade in. It was taken in Mannar. I had to wade in the mud at about 5:30 in the morning before the birds could see us. and slowly, like commando style, hide, like lie down in the mud, and hide and properly wait, till the light comes out. And what happened is actually we became part of the environment, and the birds just started swimming past us, the ducks and all the spoonbills and all just landed right in front of me. They didn't even know we were there.
Wow.
So
But by after a while I couldn't get up because we like all stiff, because like 2-3 hours lying motionless like snipers.
That's what you call commitment to the art.
That's the second time I've heard someone say that snipers and photographers almost the same thing, because you wait there for hours or even sometimes for
I think snipers are way more committed than respect to them. They spend days and weeks sometimes.
Right.
But we, it's actually it paid off, because what happened is first time I went in the afternoon, I realized that you going in the car or walking close to the birds, they just fly off. They were like really scared. So that's why I thought okay, next day early morning let's go when before the sun comes out, and settle ourselves and we'll wait and let them come to us. Take whatever photograph comes in our way.
Do you shoot in automatic or do you shoot in manual?
Manual, definitely manual. Some people use shutter priority and others use aperture priority.
That's right.
I use full manual, where I have control of both functions at the same time, so that I know I get a perfectly exposed shot then and there, because I can gauge it properly.
Right.
So I never use auto.
Alright, so getting back from the technical talk, because I'm a bit
I'm
lost,
sorry, I got carried away.
no problem there. But I'm sure for any photography enthusiast, that's a great tip that you gave out there. But let's talk about, now you spoke during the break that wildlife photography actually comes second to what your true passion is, which is sort of wildlife conservation and understanding of this ecosystem and how humans as well as animals can interact together. So tell us something about that, the work you're doing.
Actually, my thing is wildlife photography, I would say, is more like a byproduct of my true passion, which is to conserve and preserve the wildlife and their habitats in our country, which is fast disappearing. And there are a lot of conflicts with humans. So like what I try, I try at whatever time possible, like I try to get involved in small projects, where it helps the community as well as wildlife in general. One of the projects I try to help, there's an organization who does it every year, is they provide school books for a whole year for children who have lost their parents in the human-elephant conflict. And actually helping those people will make a difference, because us taking cameras and going around the villages in jungles, it's not giving it's not the right thing to do if we don't help give back to the community. So I try, those are things which I get involved in, like a lot of programs, with awareness programs with kids in schools, especially with regards to elephants, actually, because that's an area which I'm very passionate about, and that's some of the biggest problems, actually, because humans and elephants are suffering at the same time, due to issues with land and loss of habitat. So
that's an issue that you're passionate about, and that's sort of a...
And I can actually see that actually with your exhibition, that you're actually making people know that this is something that you're really passionate about. So you're dragging them in with your exhibition, and then you're going to let them know really what it's all about.
True. And
some of the ethics, I think, that photographers practice are sometimes questionable. I mean, how they follow the ethics. So do you find that there are some issues, especially with people who are up and coming, they get the camera into their hand and they consider themselves photographers. But there are certain rules and regulations, I'm sure, that they must follow when it comes to some things like wildlife photography, especially.
True. Actually, that's one of the main issues at present, because like I said, photography is a byproduct. You have to think about the animals' welfare and well-being first, and thereafter a photograph would come second. You have to always respect the animal space and always anticipate their behavior, never try to alter their behavior. There are cases we have heard of where people try to maybe throw stones at an animal so that they look at you to get a photograph, or like disturb a flock of birds so that they'll get a good shot of them flying and stuff like that, which are like totally you lose the essence of wildlife photography by doing things like that, because the photograph is not what matters is actually trying to pass a message that the beauty of the wildlife and their habitat, and trying to send a message across to conserve and preserve these habitats for the future.
Now getting into your exhibition, what can we expect on the 26th and 27th at the Arts Centre of Lionel Wendt?
Yeah, actually, a visitor would be actually go on a journey across varying like landscapes in Sri Lanka, different habitats, and will cover a lot of this biodiversity which Sri Lanka has to offer. It's amazing that a small island like Sri Lanka has such a rich biodiversity. You know, when it comes to like say the megafauna, other than the elephant, leopard, and bear, you get the blue whale, the sperm whales, and then the dolphins in the sea. The seas are rich with marine mammals, and there also you get a lot of birds, like endemic birds which you can't see anywhere else in the country, anywhere else in the world.
Right.
And actually an island like this can easily compete with even countries like Africa with regards to tourism because of what we have to offer.
Right.
But what's your favorite animal or bird to photograph? I mean, all-time favorite.
All-time favorite would be the elephant, and especially the tuskers, because I've traveled a lot in the country looking for these tuskers, and especially outside national park. That's where I go on foot most of the time.
Right.
So that's something I because the might and majesty of these animals just simply, it's just simply breathtaking. And I also feel a lot with the herds. The behavior of the herds is very similar to a family structure of humans.
Right.
And it's such a joy to see baby elephants playing with each other and playing around in the water. It's just it's such a lovely feeling.
One thing I've noticed about elephants is that when you look at close-ups of their eyes, there's so much of emotion coming out of that eye.
Yeah,
that's one thing that I've noticed. Anyways, that being said, your exhibition, how long did it take for you to get all these photos together? I'm guessing years of work.
Actually, the idea to do an exhibition started last year.
Okay.
And it's about 1.5 years of work.
Okay.
Which is finally going to culminate in the exhibition. And actually choosing the best photographs was the most challenging, because sometimes you feel heartbroken trying to delete this photograph from the selection. But actually a lot of my friends helped a lot.
Okay.
They really critique my work, and they help to share ideas. But sometimes you have to go with your gut feeling, because there are some shots some of my friends would look and say, okay, I don't really like that shot. But then this is my style and I like it. So I just went with my heart and went with my gut feeling, and selected 73 photographs. 73 of the best photographs, which I thought would best represent me and my style. And also printing took a lot of time, because what most photographers need to pay attention to is printing. I sat one by one with the printer, and made sure that the photos were not the colors and the exposure was not altered in an unnatural way.
Right.
Especially where if you increase the saturation and stuff, it would look more like a painting. So you have to be very careful when it comes to printing. So that took a lot of time. Most of my weekends were gone because of that. So
you have to balance your work as well as your hobby.
Definitely, because I'm doing a full-time job as well, and was balancing my studies as well. I could just finish my MBA, so just had to finish that.
Multitasker right here in studio today.
Everyone in the studio, clap. No. Seriously, guys, come on, wake up! They're all asleep.
But you've been doing this since you were 13. Now, what are the changes that you see in this particular field now, in the animals or in the photographers you see around you? New things that have come up?
Well, a lot of people are taking interest in wildlife, and especially wildlife photography. And I think it's thanks to the digital availability of digital cameras, and it's actually a good thing that people are concerned about it. And back then when we were small, it were only a handful of people who really spoke about it and took part in this kind of this kind of hobby. So it's good in a way, but you have to be mindful, like I mentioned earlier also.